Hi everyone, it's Leona with Leona's Designs, and I'm back with week 4 of the weekly Slow Stitch 2024 hosted by K3N Cloth Tales. And this week's word is choices. And I'm pretty excited to do this one. I think it's going to be kind of a interesting surprise element to it, for me anyway. The reason she chose the word choices was because she was thinking that there might be a lot of us stitchers out here that have a hard time making choices on the material, the thread, the design, on a project that we're getting ready to make. And so she wanted to eliminate that stress by saying we wouldn't need to make all those choices if we didn't want to. We could just do a random pick of our material for this project. So sometimes I do have a little trouble with choices on size and fabric and color and thread, but normally I don't really stress over it that much. But this project will eliminate that. So I'm pretty excited to try it because it's a random pick of fabrics, and it's fabric strips that are stitched down to whatever size project you want to do. Mine is going to be a 4x4, and then you just sew them down. You just randomly pick them and sew them down. Whatever piece you pick, you just take it and sew it down, and then the end result will be whatever comes about. I mean, it might be beautiful, you might not think it's beautiful, but it's kind of a fun project to try. So I'm going to get started with that here in a minute. I've got a big tub of fabric scraps that I was gifted. It's like 10 by 10 by 12, so there's a lot of fabric scraps in it, and I don't think there's very many strips. So I'm just going to dump out a big pile of these fabric scraps and then randomly go through them and tear them into strips. And then I'm going to put the strips in this little pretty paper gift bag, and whatever one I pick out when I'm ready to sew down, that will be the one I sew down. So I'm going to get ready to do that here in a second. But as you see, I've got my journal cover that I'm still working on here, and I've started doing the front part of it. I've got some of it stitched down, still have a little bit more to go. I'm hoping to put my word for the year on it, and also the Slow Stitch 2024. I'm going to put that here as the title and do some more embellishing. But I got the spine sewed on there, those little pieces that were in my scrap stash that someone had sewed these little rectangles together. So I put them there for a spine, and I've just started sewing pieces down with some running stitches. So I'm going to put this aside now and get going on our project for this week. Okay, so I've got this big tub of scraps, and I'm just going to randomly take some out and set them down, and just choose to use some of them for strips. Like this one's already a little strip, so I don't have to cut that. I'll just throw it in my bag here. And then I'll go through here. Like this is a strip. So the ones that are already strips, I don't need to cut down. I'm not gonna choose. Just gonna throw them in the bag. This one's probably kind of wide, but I can always cut that down. That's too short. I'll cut this one. It's gonna, my square is gonna be 4 by 4, so need to be at least 4 inches wide. So I'll just cut that, and then I'll cut it into a strip. Tear it into a strip, I should say. That'll go in my bag. And I'll just keep doing this till I get quite a few strips, and then I'll start picking them out of the bag without looking, and we'll see what we end up with. I think it's going to be a really fun project, and quite surprising to see what we end up with. If we think about it, our whole life is full of choices. You have to make so many choices every day we don't even think about or realize. And some of them turn out to be good, and some of them don't. But it's fun when we don't have to really think about it. We can just do random things, just like the random acts of kindness. I think that would work. It's kind of skinny, but we'll put it in there. This one I'm gonna cut down a little thinner. That doesn't want to tear. There's a lot of beautiful fabric here. It was all gifted to me on the Buy Nothing page on a Facebook group that I belong to. Some ladies. Oops. That one didn't tear straight. Some ladies in the community make quilts, and they gave me their scraps. Some of these aren't long enough to really use for this project. Here's one. I thought, when I was thinking about doing this project, I was thinking that it would be fun someday to just randomly do random things. Like go in the store and just randomly strike up a conversation with someone, or just randomly drive down a street that you have never driven down before. Could make for a very interesting day. This might be long enough. Wow, some of this material is really interesting. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I get a lot of pieces in the bag. Don't really need a whole lot because my piece is only 4 by 4, so the way Catherine did hers on K3 cloth tails is she put her strips down diagonally. She was doing a 5 by 5 inch square, and she was just randomly picking fabric, and her piece turned out pretty nice, I thought. Excuse me. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I'll be back when I've got a few pieces thrown in the bag. Okay, I think I've got enough. There's quite a few strips in this little bag, especially since I'm only doing a 4 by 4 inch square. I'm going to put these back in the bin. I've got 3 bins like this full of scraps that I was given, and I hope to be able to use at least one of these bins up this year. We'll see. I'm just gonna do projects that are just scraps, nothing else, just scrappy scrap projects. So I got this little 4 by 4 inch white piece of cloth, cotton cloth, and I think it was from a sheet. And I'm just backing it with a piece of a dryer sheet. And I'm going to start stitching with just some white sewing thread. Got my needle threaded here. And I'm just going to randomly pick out of this bag. I'm not going to look. Just going to reach in and grab a piece, and whatever I get, I'll stitch down. Well, I got 2. So I will stitch one down and then do the next. And that one's kind of short to do diagonal, so I guess I'm going to do them horizontal. So I'll just start stitching them down with a running stitch. Horizontally. And just think of how many projects you could make doing this, and how fun it would be to just pick random pieces and see what you end up with. use these projects for lots of things. So it's a good way to use up scraps and not worry about what color you're gonna use. And it's quick because you just do a few running stitches and then put your next piece down. I'm going to put mine kind of close together so I get as many different pieces on here as I can. I'll try to put that down to cover up those stitches. Just enough so that it shows. So this is week 4 of one of the 2024 projects I'm working on. I ended up trying to do 4 different ones for 2024. Excuse me. And 2 of them are weekly, and 2 of them are monthly. So I'm hoping I can keep up. I mean, right now in the winter, it's not too difficult to keep up on things because I don't do much or go anywhere. But when it comes summer, then there's more things to do outside. Okay, I'm gonna pick another one. Without looking, I got this pretty blue polka dotted one. Just stick that on there. Put it a little closer. Okay. Trying to get as many on here as I can to see all the different colors. I guess I'm going to cut this off. It's a little difficult there with that tail hanging over. I'm going to cut my thread. Put that back in there. I'm used to pinning everything down, so it's kind of different for me to hold on to it. Make sure it doesn't move. My other projects that I'm involved in, I'm hoping to keep up with and do videos on. 2 of them are weekly. There's this one with K3N cloth tails. And then there's another one is Icky Chick Designs. And she is working on just scrap pieces for the whole year. She's making little 4x4 scrap pieces, excuse me, to get a Kleenex here. and she's just using scraps and seeing how many 4x4 pieces she can make in a week. I got that blue one on, and I'll pick out another one. Oop. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, okay. Got 4 of them that time. And so I thought that's just perfect because I want to make 4x4 scrap pieces. And she gives ideas about what you can do with them, like use them for pockets on clothing, or make little fabric greeting cards, or little just because books, or make little gifts. Just use scraps. And I have 3 bins of scraps to use up. So I thought, yes, that's a perfect project for me. It's just little projects and uses up scraps, and it doesn't take a lot of time. So I'm hoping to do that one and see how many of these little 4x4s I can complete in a week with her. And then I have 2 others that are monthly. One is with Danella Mellon. She gives a monthly prompt. It's usually 1 word. It's called Stitch With Me in 2024. And so that you have the whole month to complete that. And then the other one is a monthly one. I hope we have enough thread to stitch this one down. The other monthly one is one I just found on YouTube. It's with Feather House Studios. She is doing a monthly stitch challenge with just scraps. And she's making a book. But I would probably just use 4x4 inch scraps. And her project is for January is January Vibes, stitching the weather that is going on around you. So I thought that would be fun to do, especially since our January weather was so awful. Just lately we had snow and ice and rain and cold. So that would be kind of interesting to stitch out on a 4x4. I'm going to have to tie this off and get some more thread on this needle. And then we will be able to continue on. Well, this is what we have so far. It's looking pretty good to me. I got this thread given to me too. It was in the pile with a whole tub full of scraps. So that was a welcome gift. I'm just excited to see what I can do with all these scraps. I got the whole year to find out. Where did my end go? Okay, where is my end? There it is. I always cut the thread too long, I think. Because I always worry that I'm going to run out. See, that's one of my little stressors. That's a choice right there. I shouldn't think about it. I should just cut it randomly. And, you know, I did make a choice, even though these were randomly picked. I made a choice to put each one of these down. I should have shut my eyes and just randomly picked those. See, it's hard not to choose. It's even hard to not to choose which way to put them down on the cloth. Our life is just full of choices. And then we have to live with the choices that we make. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it isn't. Of course, there's other times when other people choose for us. Can't help that. Like, I heard this quote years ago. Children and animals. They have no choice, they have no voice. It's kind of sad. Well, I thought this was the same, but it isn't. Two different colors of blue there. Okay, I'm gonna put that up there like that. So even though we are randomly picking our fabrics, oops, we're still choosing how to put them down and sew them down. But I guess it's a little easier this way. You don't have to make a lot of choices. The biggest choice I've seen so far is when I had to go to the store to get a light bulb. I had a light bulb burn out in one of my lamps, and I didn't have any on hand, and I hadn't bought any for a long time. And I went to the store and I was totally confused because there was this whole aisle of light bulbs of various different kinds. And I'd never seen, oh, I'm going to pick another one now. Hopefully hopefully just one this time. Oops, got two. I'm gonna cut this one a little thinner. Hey, another choice. But anyway, I went to the store to get the light bulbs, and I was totally amazed. There were so many different choices. Never in my life had I had to make so many choices to buy a light bulb. Excuse me. I guess the light bulbs that we used to use are being discontinued, and they've got these new kind coming out now. Whether that's good or not, I don't know. But I finally found some that I was kind of comfortable buying, and they seem to work fine. So we'll see. Kind of surprised that I'm using so much thread. I have to thread my needle again. It keeps getting knotted up here. Okay, probably got enough room left for two more. Trying not to pull that so tight. Well, so far so good. Got a couple more to go, and then we will see what we have. I think this little one will fit on here. I'm going to cut it down just a little bit. And I'll be able to fit one more. Oh, there's another choice. And I'm going to have to rethread my needle before I sort on the next one. I think. I'm in a happy mood today anyway, because I went to the eye doctor this morning for a checkup and I got a good report. So that's always good. Oh, hopefully I can make it to the end. Yes. Okay, I made it to the end. And I'm going to tie this off, rethread my needle, and I will be back to stitch that last piece on. And while I got my needle threaded, I also plugged in my handy dandy little iron so I can iron this down. So we got one more piece to pick. Ta-da! Drum roll. What's our last piece gonna be? A blue one. Two blue. Oh. Okay, so oops. Knock my iron off. Just a minute. And little iron off on the floor. Okay, so sew down this last piece. And then we will iron it down. These little bits I'm saving in this little tub here. And I'm going to see what I can do with these. Just tiny, tiny little snippets. So that'll be a fun project one day. Right, so let's get this guy sewed down. And then we will, I think I might go back and do some more slow stitches, or some more straight stitches or seed stitches. I don't know. I'll have to see what it looks like here when I'm finished. Okay, we got that one down. All right, so we got her done, and this is what she looks like. I think I'll keep this as the top, and I probably will do a few little seed stitches here and there. Maybe some other kind of stitches, I don't know. But I'm gonna iron it down right now with my little iron. I did trim off the edges. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I hope I've inspired you with this little exercise. It's a little random, no choice exercise, but of course there was still a few choices you made, but most of them were random, and it turned out nice. So I've got a lot of little strips left in this bag. I'll probably be making more 4-inch patches for my other January challenge to see how many 4-inch scrap pieces I can make for January. Thanks for watching, and if you like my videos, please think about subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you again next week on week 5. Have a great day.